If you're struggling to make consistent revenue online and feel stuck without a clear way to attract new customers every single day, then this video is for you. During this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step on how you can build your own low ticket acquisition machine that generates $100, $1,000, or even up to $10,000 per day, even if you have no experience or little to no tech skills. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do to build your own predictable low ticket acquisition machine for your brand. Now listen, I know what it's like to feel like you're spinning your wheels, hoping for sales that never come. You're spending time, maybe even money, but nothing seems to stick. And the truth is, without a system in place, it's almost impossible to build consistent income. But what if I told you that there's a simple way to bring in new customers into your ecosystem every single day? And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how a $27 funnel can not only make you $100 plus per day, but also set you up to make high ticket sales in the future without burning out, without chasing leads, or without wasting money on ads that don't work. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Damian Watts and people call me the 8-Figure Creator. And my mission is to help entrepreneurs build scalable systems that not only grow their business, but also grows their income. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you never miss a step-by-step breakdown like this. Now let's dive in. And now I want to get into how I generate $1,000 to $10,000 plus per day with low ticket funnels using AI-powered automation. Now, when it comes to the AI side, from a high level standpoint, we utilize platforms like MindPal and Relevance AI, and it handles over 65% of the execution that comes to building out the landing page copy, upsells and downsells. That's the backend automations with the emails and SMS. That is the ads and the VSL scripts for each individual page. And then we also utilize it to come up with the product offering, design the product offering, and then we also build out the ascension ladder for the high ticket products and every single upsell and the order bumps. Now, I'm going to give you access to our plug and play frameworks that have helped over 500 entrepreneurs scale without a huge team or without having a big personal brand. And as you can see here on the screen, on the left-hand side, this is going to be all for one day. But on the left-hand side, we have high ticket sales coming through. And on the right-hand side, you can see here, we have a low ticket sale plus an order bump for $36. And we typically price it at $27 for our low ticket acquisition models. We've tested everything from $7 all the way to $97, and we found that $27 is the sweet spot. So that's what that $36.99 is. And then the order bump is for $9. And then you can see the first upsell for $97, the second upsell for $497, and then a slew of high ticket sales at $4,500, $6,500, $2,000, $1,500, etc. And once you have a combination of all of the low ticket acquisition model resources that I'm going to give you access to inside of the description here, you'll be able to build your very own low ticket acquisition machine. And now let's get into what this model is. This is the path to predictable buyers and scalable revenue. As you can see here, we've generated over $500 million online, and out of that $500 million, over 60 million of it came from just this model alone. Now, quick story, if you go to my Instagram page and look at my second pinned post, you'll see me talking about a story where we brought in a real estate educator who was doing around $250,000 to $300,000 a month. And within a short period of time, we took them to over $4 million a month. And what we ended up doing was this person was only running a VSL funnel, which is a video sales letter funnel. And they were doing anywhere between 10 to 25 sales per month at a 15K price point. And once we introduced the low ticket acquisition model, the challenge model every single month, and then we built out a pretty big community that's doing over $1 million a month now, we were able to substantially build this business. But it all started with adding in the low ticket acquisition model to get an influx of buyers every single day. Now, I want you to imagine this, waking up to a system that consistently brings you new buyers into your business without guesswork or overwhelm. Whether you're a solopreneur launching your first digital product, a coach looking for predictable revenue, or an e-commerce brand struggling to profitably acquire new customers. Now, this is not going to be for e-commerce brands, but we do build out advertorials and build out upsells and downsells on the back end to help increase average order value and repeat customer rate. And this is something that I wanted to briefly touch on here so that you understand exactly how this can be implemented for e-commerce brands as well. Now, the low ticket acquisition model is your solution. This is the proven system that generates buyers on demand. It primes them for high ticket offers on the back end, and it creates a scalable, automated revenue stream. Now, here are some of the common struggles entrepreneurs may face online, whether they're struggling with turning their traffic into paying customers, burning money on ads without a clear ROI, or wondering if scaling is even possible without massive resources. If any of this sounds familiar, just trust me on this. You're not alone, and it's not your fault, because most of the advice targets advanced marketers or businesses with larger budgets. But the good news is you don't need a complex strategy or a huge budget to see results with this funnel. You just need this proven framework. And if you're a coach, consultant, or service provider, a low ticket acquisition system is a must have. For solopreneurs, it simplifies everything into actionable steps so you can scale without stress. And for my coaches, it creates predictable pipeline of buyers, freeing you to focus on serving your clients. And now let me break down why it works for everyone. It's scalable for any budget. You can start with $500 or even scale this to over $50,000 in monthly ad spend. It builds trust with your buyers, priming them for high ticket offers, and it delivers predictable, measurable results, giving you clarity and confidence. And most entrepreneurs struggle with inconsistent sales and scaling because they rely on outdated methods. But this model is your solution to predictable, scalable success. Now it's time to stop working harder and start working smarter. Now let's go over what you're going to be learning today. By the end of this breakdown, you're going to have a clear blueprint to build your very own low ticket acquisition model. I'm going to show you how to create your own low ticket offer that converts. You're going to learn how to craft irresistible offers that attract buyers and builds trust from the first transaction. I'm going to teach you the math behind profitable funnels. Now, this is where everyone gets it wrong. Everyone's trying to be profitable on the front end of this funnel when this is a break even or a negative investor mindset type of a funnel. And I'm going to show you how to apply economics into the digital world. And I call it Digitalnomics. Essentially, it's just the science behind the funnel math. Then I'm going to show you step by step the funnel creation process to help you build a seamless funnel with the landing pages, order bumps, upsells, thank you pages, etc. And all of these are designed to maximize your average order value. And then I'm going to show you some of the AI tools that we use to automate the process. And finally, I'm going to show you how to scale into high ticket ascension, which is going to help you transition your low ticket buyers into high ticket programs or recurring revenue streams for exponential growth. And this guide is your compass to building a profitable low ticket offer. Now let's get into why low ticket funnels work. Low ticket funnels solve a core challenge for businesses, which is acquiring customers predictably and affordably while priming them for higher value purchases. A low ticket offer is an entry level product or service typically priced between $7 and $47 and is designed to deliver immediate value at an accessible price point. Unlike higher ticket offers that require significant trust and convincing, low ticket offers remove the barriers, making it easier for your customers to say yes. And now I want to walk you through the step-by-step breakdown of the low ticket funnel system. So let me take you into my back end. As you can see, this is a bunch of stuff that is all connected, and we've really figured out how to move this game around when it comes to the online digital space and selling products online. So this is my exact process that I'm utilizing right now. And what I'm going to show you here, this is the funnel. This is my low ticket acquisition funnel for one of our products, which is, it goes deeper into challenges and how to run 5-day virtual events, but it gives you a step-by-step breakdown. And you can kind of see here some of the resources that we have on the back end here. I give you access to all of this inside of Digital Hustlers. Okay, so you can see that we have mockups, we have resources, we have tools, and then there's a dedicated section here for the low ticket acquisition system model. Okay, we have a private community, we have low ticket tools, we have a place where you can share your wins, we have a blueprint system where it walks you through step by step exactly what you need to do. It gives you access to all the funnels, all the resources, all the copy, AI tools, everything that you need to be successful. We provided inside of the Digital Hustlers. Now back to this. This right here is me selling a $27 product, which you can see here. Immediately after a person comes in, they go to the order form, and I'm selling them into, as you can see, the $27 physical book. So they go from the physical book landing page and then they go to the order form, which I just pulled up. And if they do not purchase, then they start the abandoned engine. And this is going to follow up with them with emails trying to bring them back to this page. And on that page, I have an order bump. Now, if they decide to take both the $27 product and the $9 order bump, then the order bump fulfillment process is going to start and they're going to be tagged. Now, if they buy this offer, there's a couple of things that's going to be happening here. Number one, the fulfillment engine starts. Okay, so we give them access to the book, we give them a confirmation email, and the onboarding process for the purchase that they just made is going to start. Then you have the upsell. So this first upsell is what we call a fast track, a rapid stack. You can mix and match these. We've tested this very thoroughly. You can put SaaS here, you can put communities here, and you can also just have complementary products. But for us, the $197 price point, we're actually testing two things at this very moment with this. We have a page where we give two different options, which is very unorthodox inside of this process, but I'll show you what this looks like here. So on the back end of Hustler Haven, you can see, let me go to the order. Okay, go here. And you can see here that I have two options on this page. I have a $197 one-time purchase and a $497. And the biggest difference is I walk them through the entire challenge process and give them access to a fast track implementation call for $497. Okay. And I have a lot of people that take me up on this offer. So this is just us split testing if having one offer on the page or two offers can work. And most people are taking this $497 offer versus the $197. So we're increasing the average order value, which we'll get into the digital economics here in a sec. So if they don't take this upsell, then they start the upsell abandon process. and then they're automatically pushed to the down sell. Now for this $197, what we do is we take them to a 2-pay model, which is basically saying we take the $197 price point, we split it in half, and then we charge $97 here. We actually lose a little bit here, but we're okay with losing a little, which isn't much. But if they do not take this offer, they're automatically pushed to the Digital Hustlers community for challenges. Okay, now let me break this down for you so that you have a clear understanding of exactly what we're doing here. I'm going to scroll over here to the front. So this right here is our content mechanism on the front end that I teach all of our growth partners, all of our clients. They need to master this level here. And if you can master this, I can handle all of the rest of the things on the back end, which you kind of saw all of the boxes and all these things here shown. So for me, I have my content pillars, and these content pillars are different talking points within, which then breaks into micro pieces of content, which then gives me content forever to be able to create. So for this example, I'm speaking on challenges. And once we have our challenges, we have our distribution mechanisms, we have all of our freebies, we have our micro offers, and then it drives into our community. Okay. So this community here is the Digital Hustler community, which you see right here. And I want to break down this strategy because it's very important for you to understand why we're doing what we're doing. So each individual section here, the challenges, the communities, the webinars, low ticket, high ticket, etc., they're their own separate communities. Okay. And we give them individual resources to not overwhelm people so they can have access to exactly what they need. And that's what this process is breaking down here. So for this example, this is for challenges specifically. So now once they either purchase or do not purchase the first upsell, the second upsell is driving them into a community. Now we've tested other complementary products that we can put at upsell number 2, but the Digital Hustle community is what's working best for us at this very moment. And we can flip flop these and put the community here, move the upsell here. So it's just a matter of testing out the flow for your liking. But for this, we're driving them to the community, giving them access. So if they buy this, then they go directly to the book a call thank you page. If they do not buy this, then we have a last ditch effort here where we're sending them to a free trial into the community or a $1 trial. Okay. Now from that page, on this page, I'll break this down in much detail as we get to the thank you page, but we're selling on this page essentially into a discovery call, a strategy session, etc., to see where they are, extract the information, and then we push them to higher ticketed products on the back end. Now, for this individual funnel, we're driving them to the challenge accelerator for $5,000. And again, on the back end, you can sell whatever you want to sell. You can have it priced however you want to price. Some people send them to courses. Some people send them to masterminds. Some people put them into accelerator programs. And for us, I'm putting them into a 6 to 8 week program that essentially just shows them exactly how to build out their challenges. But you have the ability on the back end post the thank you page sale to send them to mid-ticket products, do-it-yourself products, mid-ticket to high products, high-ticket products, high to more access, and then access untapped. So we have different product trees in a part of our ascension ladder to ascend them to. And we typically go with accelerators here, but you also have other products that you can put inside of this as well, which gives you an arsenal to have on the back end of any low ticket acquisition model that you place. Okay. And then once we get into the math, it'll start making a lot more sense why you want to have these things on the back end of your ecosystem. Now, I do have some different examples, and I'm going to provide this Google Doc inside of the description, so you can go through this and have this as a resource. But here's a few different examples that you can kind of go through to kind of see what the funnels look like on the back end that you can put together. This is Ravi. He's selling a YouTube lead magnet at this point. Then you have Jeremy Miner, and there's just different styles to the funnels as well. So we have all of these styles built out on the back end of our ecosystem. As you can kind of see, the one that we have for ourselves, we have this one example, and we're always constantly split testing on the back end. So I can show you here. We have another framework. We have sections on the back end that you can utilize. But if I go to our new sales page, the team is on the back end now, and you can kind of see how it's very similar. Okay. And this is all the trusted results that we have on our side, and you can have access to this same exact template. We have, again, a ton of resources on the back end that allows you to build out these assets. So you can see this is just one of the resources that we have, and it's stored inside of our community in the resource lab. So if you need access to any tools, resources, all the things that we're utilizing on our side, you can join Digital Hustles community, and we'll have everything inside of there that you need to take care of yourself. And from there, we have all of the automations, all of the back-end processes, everything that you would need, all done for you, so that you don't have to worry about this entire process. But I want to show you exactly what it is that we do on our side, so that if you want to do it by yourself, you have the ability to do so. So while this model works across multiple industries, it's a low barrier to entry. So $7 to $47 price point feels like a no-brainer. There's massive scalability a part of this process, and the trust and upsell opportunities. You get to start small, deliver value, and build trust to lead customers naturally through your high ticket ascension. And no matter your industry, the low ticket funnel can be tailored to your business. Now let's dive a little bit deeper into how this works. So the psychology behind low ticket funnels: a small commitment leads to big conversions. Low ticket offers capitalize on psychology of micro commitments. They're low risk, they offer immediate gratification, and the buyer psychology shift that happens once someone has purchased, they become more likely to invest in higher ticketed offers. Now, it's very important to kind of understand this here. Whenever you're running webinars, doing lead generation and things of that nature to get people into your ecosystem, it's going to be very different than the low ticket acquisition model. The low ticket acquisition model, we're getting the purchase on the front end so that we can have a one-click process throughout the entire rest of the journey before they get to the thank you page. With webinars, you're spending money on the webinar. If you do not have a bridge sale page, now you have to wait until the webinar presentation, and now you have to figure out if they're going to show. Do you have automations in place to make sure that you have reminders? And then you have to wait until they ultimately decide or do not decide to make the purchase on the product to then make your money back. With the low ticket acquisition model, you're making money instantly. So you're getting a ton of dopamine hits immediately, and you have the ability to increase your average order value throughout the process with upsells and downsells. So this is where now we're going to shift into the economic advantage. And this is where a lot of people miss the ball. They do not look at the game as just simple math, okay? And I'm going to have some examples once we get into the Digitalnomics section that breaks down the math so that you can truly understand how to play this game. And once you do understand it, it's going to give you the ability to move with confidence. So you have the ability to self-liquidate your ad spend, and you have front-end profit potential. So these are some of the metrics that you need to understand when it comes to playing this game. First one is CAC. This is the cost to acquire a new customer. This is how much you spend on ads or your marketing efforts to acquire one customer. For example, if you spend $500 on ads and acquire 50 customers, your CAC is that $500 that you spent divided by the customers, which is 50, and it gives you a CAC of $10 per customer. Now, for your average order value, which is the AOV, this is the average amount a customer spends during their initial purchase. This includes the low ticket product, the order bump, the upsells, and the downsells. And the example here is if you have 100 customers generate $7,000 in revenue, your average order value is $7,000 divided by 100 customers, which is $70. So you have a $70 AOV and you have a $10 CAC. And finally, you have the ROAS, which is the return on ad spend. This measures the revenue generated per dollar spent on ads. So that's going to be revenue divided by your ad spend. So for this example, if you generate $5,000 in revenue and $1,000 in ad spend, your ROAS is going to be $5,000 that we generated divided by the $1,000 that we spent, which is a 5x return. And now I want to break down a $27 low ticket example, just kind of showcasing what happens when you have upsells and downsells and order bumps as part of the process. So you have your steps: low ticket offer, order bump, you have your price. We have something that you need to obsess over with this funnel, which is the conversion rates. And then you have the revenue per 100 visitors. Okay. So I'm going to do a quick rundown. For the low ticket offer, we have 100 people who have come to the site. And out of this 100 people who have come to the site for this low ticket offer, we have a 10% conversion rate. Okay. So that means that 10% of 100 is 10. We had 10 people come through and buy the $27 offer. So that equals $270 that we've generated on the front end. Okay. Then we have the order bump. And it's saying here that 30% of those people actually ended up purchasing the order bump. So out of the 10 people who have purchased, 30% of those 10, which is 3, generated an additional $51. Same thing for the first upsell, 20%. Now we have 2 people out of the 10 buy the first upsell for $97, which gives us an additional $194. Same thing for the downsell, an additional 10%. We got 1 person to buy out of the 10, additional 47. And the same thing for the upsell number 2. We got 1 more person to purchase for $197. So that total comes out to be $759. So now let's calculate the CAC with this example. We have 100 visitors that came to the site. That's $500, okay? So the ad spend there is $500 to generate 100 visitors. Let's say that we have 10% conversion rate, like we mentioned, so that's 10 buyers. So the CAC for this example would be ad spend divided by the buyers. This means that we have a $50 per buyer. Basically, the CAC is $50. For step number 2, calculating the AOV with this example, we generated a total of $759. We have 10 people who have purchased, so we take the total revenue and divide that by the buyers, which is $759 divided by 10, which is $75.90 per buyer. So we have basically $76 AOV. We have a $50 CAC. And then when it comes to the ROAS, we take the $759 that we generated, we divide that by the amount that we spent, which gives us a 1.52 return on ad spend. Okay, so some key observations here. The day one profitability, if your AOV is $75.90, which is greater than your CAC, your funnel is profitable on the front end. So that's very important to understand. Now, from a self-liquidation standpoint, even if the ROAS is a 1x, which is basically break even, you're acquiring customers at no cost, setting the stage for the back end profits. So back to my example earlier when I was talking about the webinars and now the low ticket acquisition model, the goal here is, imagine this. If I spend $100 to get 10 new leads, so that's basically $10 per lead for a webinar, and there's no upsell process on the back end, it just goes to the actual confirmation page. Here, that's not breaking even. It's costing me money to get the people through the door. In the low ticket acquisition model, if I have a $27 product and I acquire someone and it costs me $27 to get them through the door, now I basically didn't spend anything to acquire this person and it didn't cost me anything because I broke even, right? So now I'm getting people into my ecosystem for free. And that's the name of the game here. And this is where I'm going to get into the upsells and the downsells, which makes this even more worth the process of having this ecosystem in your business. And then you have the back end revenue potential. Now, this is where we start talking about adding in $2,000 products on the back end, $4,500, $6,500, $10,000. And this is why this model is so vicious. So for an example here, I'm going to walk you through 3 different scenarios. You have your ad spend, your low ticket price, AOV, buyers, etc. So scenario 1 is exactly what we just walked through. Okay, you spent $500, you have a $27 front end, the AOV is $75.90, you have 10 buyers, revenue generated, and the ROAS. Now, for the example that I just mentioned, we did not even talk about having one person coming through and buying a $2,000 product. So for this example, I want to show you how everything changes when you have this low ticket acquisition model in place and you have a high ticket product on the back end ascension. So let's say that one person out of this 10, you get them on a call and they end up purchasing a $2,000 product. What happens to the ROAS? So we spent $500, $27 here. So one person purchases. Now this revenue goes from $759 to $2,759. Okay. So what does that do to the ROAS? For the ROAS, it's basically almost a 6x. Okay. So it drastically changes. And this is what gives you the ability to put more back into your ads to acquire more customers. And you can see the loophole here. We're getting new people into the ecosystem every single day with the opportunity to ascend them to higher ticketed products, whether it's a course, whether it's a mastermind, whether it's an accelerator, etc. on the back end. And now let's go into scenario number 2. Same exact ad spend, but the key difference here is all we did was incrementally bump the low ticket price point $10. Okay. And I want you to see how it drastically changes the results of the actual funnel just by tweaking the price point. So we bump it up to $37. The AOV now goes from $75 to $95. The revenue goes to $955, and the ROAS is a 1.91 now. Okay. So now, again, let's say that out of this 10, one person purchases. So it goes to basically $2,900. That's almost a 6x again. And you can see how everything starts to shift just by playing with the price points. And also what happens is if you can focus on the conversion rates, which is what I told you earlier, you need to learn to obsess over. And if you obsess over those things, small incremental tweaks give you drastic changes on the back end. So for this final scenario, let's say we bump it up $20, okay, from this original 27. This $47, now our AOV is $115. We have 10 buyers, but we've generated $1,100 on the front end and we have a 2.3x. These are really good numbers. I would take this every single day. And now when we add an additional $2,000, now we're at $3,000 and now we're over a 6x. So you can see just by incrementally changing the price point here and getting one sale on the back end, after having 100 people come to your website, this is what creates the low ticket acquisition machine. And we have people that have done over $1 million just with this one funnel on a monthly basis. Okay. So it's very important that you understand the math behind how this works, because without understanding this math, you're going nowhere fast. So as you can see here, some of the things that you can focus on is increasing your average order value. So how do we do that? You can add irresistible upsells and order bumps and test the different price points. Like we just showed here, we went from $27 to $37 to $47. And you can also focus on reducing the CAC, where you can use high performing ad creatives to lower your cost per click. And you can optimize your targeting to attract qualified leads who convert. And then on the back end, you can scale with high ticket offers, which we just talked about. And then you always want to monitor and test the conversion rates. Okay. This is something that you have to obsess over, because again, what happens here if I go up? What if this 10% is no longer 10% and it's 15%? Okay. So let's just play with the numbers. Okay. So this goes to 15 people. Now, what does that do with the numbers? Let me grab my calculator really quick. Okay. So here on the screen, you can see we have the calculator. That's 27 times 15. That now goes to 405. Okay. So that goes to 405, which then changes the overall product revenue that comes through the door just by getting a 5% increase on this section here. I'm going to revert back just so we can keep everything clean. But you can see just by how changing and tweaking the price point and making sure that you're always trying to get higher conversion rates, this can be something that's self-sufficient. And then when it comes to the lifetime value multiplier, okay, this is once someone has purchased from you, they're more likely to buy again. And by acquiring thousands of low ticket buyers, you build a pool of pre-qualified engaged customers who can be nurtured into purchasing higher ticket offers or recurring products. And the key insight here is it's easier and cheaper to sell to an existing customer than it is to acquire a new one. Okay, so that's something to remember. And another reason that I love this model is for the scalability and predictability. Then you have it simplifies the sales process with the higher ticket offers on the back end. This gives you the ability to establish credibility, demonstrate a ton of value, and nurture relationships. And then finally, you can automate the growth with systems, okay? You can have automated lead generation, seamless upsells, and back-end nurturing. And here in this example, you can see where we sold a $97 low-ticket product on 9/10, and on 10/5, they ended up upgrading to an $8,000 product, okay? Now, there is something that you're gonna have to learn a part of this process is everybody's not gonna upgrade immediately. You have to follow up. You have to have systems in place. You have to constantly make sure that if they're interested, you want to get them into a call setting so that you can break down any barriers or objections that they may have about the process. Okay. So once you figure that out for yourself, how long it takes, whatever that time lag is for people to upgrade, how long do they need? 30 days, 90 days, 120 days. But if people come in and buy your product, you at least know that the interest is there. So when it comes to the low ticket funnels, they work because they provide a win-win for both you and your customers. They lower the barrier to entry for buyers, allowing you to generate leads and sales predictably while also building the trust and momentum needed to scale into high ticket sales. Now let's get into the fun part of actually building this entire model out. Okay, so step number one, you want to define your core offer. The core offer is the low ticket product that gets customers into your ecosystem. Creating a low ticket offer isn't just about pricing it low, it's about delivering immense value in a way that feels irresistible to your customers. Okay, so these are some of the characteristics of a winning low ticket offer: low friction, 100x the value, immediate gratification, easy to understand, and clarity of your promise. Now, this promise is something that's very important that people typically skip. This is the outcome your customer can expect, and it must be made crystal clear of exactly what they're going to get. So for me, inside of mine, I'm going to show people how to discover how to sell their front end high ticket offers with no sales team, no VSL, and no phone calls. Okay. So that's my promise that I'm telling you. You don't need any of those things in order to sell high ticket sales whenever you run it through a challenge model, because you're utilizing a 3-day, 1-day, 5-day. You're spending more time. They're getting more access to be able to trust you, build that authority, answer any objections, and then you hit them with the price point. So that's my promise inside of my low ticket offer. And many entrepreneurs fail at the low ticket models because they think that the low ticket means low value. In reality, it's about over delivering at a price point that makes this a no-brainer. And here's some of the example products that you can create: ebooks, templates, checklists, swipe files, mini courses, and you can also have limited time memberships and trial subscriptions. And now that you understand the importance of solving a specific pain point, I want to show you my system that I utilize on my side. And we have AI agents and AI employees on the back end that handle all of this for us. But for the people who may see this as being a little bit too complex, I have some prompts that I've created, and you can access this on the inside. Again, this will be inside of the description, but you can just simply copy and paste this entire ecosystem. And I'm going to walk you through this step by step. So the first thing that we want to do here with creating this low ticket system is we want to define the pain point and the promise. So you can take this information here directly into ChatGPT. Remove this. Okay. All you have to do is come in and change and put something inside of the placeholder. So for me, I'm going to say my target audience is, let's just copy this for this example here: overwhelmed workers. I'm going to remove that. Okay. And then you have your output example of exactly how I want this to be outputted. Okay. So you're going to hit enter, and you can see that the pain point is overwhelmed by the process of creating a sales page. And the promise is design a high converting authentic sales page in 60 minutes. Okay. So all you're going to do with this process, and again, I won't go through this entire thing here to bore you, is you're going to go through step by step, just copy and paste into the actual ChatGPT. Or if you like Claude better, you can put it into Claude. But just for another example here, design the transformation. You're going to take that, put it here. You're going to grab your target audience. And as you're going through this process, you'll want to have like a Google Doc or a note-taking asset to be able to copy these over, so that whenever you need to insert something into the actual prompt itself for the placeholders, it'll make it easier for you so that you're not bouncing back and forth. Okay, so the transformation here: before, they feel overwhelmed and stuck, and after, they're confidently using this plug and play framework. And then you're going to go into the content structure. which is basically what you want the low ticket product to be. And for this example, I have an example for an ebook, but I have other prompts and other AI tools on the back end that you can build any low ticket product that you want to build. And then for step 4, you're going to create the offer. Then you're going to craft the sales copy. Then you're going to focus on your Ascension integration as far as like what are your upsells going to be, your downsells going to be. You're going to test and optimize. And then the final thing here is you're going to create the blueprint. Okay. And this right here is a step-by-step process that you just copy and paste. And again, on the back end of Digital Hustlers, we have all of these things just placed in the back end. As you can see here, AI employees, prompts, and GPTs that we've created to automate this entire process for you so you don't have to worry about the hassle of going back and forth. But I want to provide you with a multitude of things just in case you don't come inside of the community. So now you have the step number 2, which you want to map out the funnel. Okay, so the funnel process, this is the landing page, the order form, the order bumps, the upsells, downsells, etc. And on the back end here, if I go to the funnels and forms, pull this up. You can see here, I have this book funnel framework. Okay, so this is the order form, the OTO, the downsell, upsell number 2, downsell number 2, and then the thank you confirmation page. And you'll have access to this on the back end of Digital Hustlers, and it maps out the entire process. All you have to do is come into this section here, go to custom values on the back end of Digital Hustlers. If I go into folders, you can see that I have built out the entire ecosystem that you need in order to get yourself up and running as quickly as possible. I have custom values that basically all you have to do is come in here and put what your desired outcome is, what the time frame is, what is your topic of your low ticket product. And there's these custom values that we have, and it's very simple for you to come in and edit this custom value. So let's just say that the time frame is 30 days. Wherever this custom value is for a time frame that we put inside of our emails, that we put inside of our funnels on the back end of Hustler Haven, 30 days is going to populate. So again, not only am I giving you the tools and the resources to come up with the outcomes and come up with these assets, I'm also giving you a step-by-step framework for you to just come in, put in the values for your particular brand, and your entire sales funnel, your entire email marketing sequence is all completed for you. And that's the power of having AI automations on the back end. Now, when it comes to validating your funnel, you want to start small. You want to begin with a modest ad budget of $20 to $50 per day to gather insights. And again, this is where the data starts coming into play. For us, we utilize assets like this. Sometimes we have regular photos. Sometimes we take the assets and put them into designs like this. So if you need access and help with all of these things inside of the Digital Hustle community, I have a place where you can hire experts, video editing, graphic design, virtual assistants. If you need funnels built out, if you want automations, if you want someone to do your ads, emails, etc., you can come into this, fill out the form, and we can help you for sure when it comes to delivering on the execution of getting the things built out for you. The second thing that you want to focus on here is tracking the right metrics. Okay, we focus on opt-in rates, sales conversion rates, and the ROAS on the front end. Okay, so you want to aim for at least a 30% opt-in rate. If it's lower, then you need to revisit your headlines and your copy. And again, we have AI tools that can help you with that process. The sales page conversion rate, the conversion rate needs to be 5% or higher. And then the ROAS, for every dollar that you spend, you should at least be looking to make at least $1.50. Okay. And that's during the validation phase. The third thing that you want to do here is test and optimize. So we're always testing relentlessly the headlines, the offer itself, and ad creatives. Okay. This is where we spend a lot of our time while we're also obsessing over the conversion rates. And then finally, we iterate based on results. So we use the data to pinpoint the bottlenecks. For example, here, if your opt-in rate is low, we test a more compelling lead magnet or a clear CTA. And if the sales conversions lag, then we consider tweaking the order form or adding testimonials for more credibility. Now, why does this validation matter? You save money. You get to boost confidence because the data-driven decisions eliminate any guesswork. So we're able to look at the funnel, look at the metrics, and make decisions very quickly. If we need to change something, we can see the data tell us a story, and then we make decisions based off of that story that the data has given us. And then we have the ability here for refining the messaging. Okay. Now for step number 3, you want to craft a compelling landing page. This is where you go in and you work on the headlines, you work on the sub-headlines, the visuals, the benefits, the call to action. And that's this entire process here. So on the back end, again, a lot of this is already filled in for you. You don't have to worry about anything. All you have to do is go into the section and start filling in the custom values, and it'll be built for you. Or you can utilize the prompts and the GPT tools that we have on the back end to help map out your entire landing page and all the pages that comes with it. Then you need to optimize your order form. Okay. Some of the things that you want to look out for here, just make sure you have a clean design. Make sure you have an order bump on the page. It helps with the AOV. make sure you have trust indicators and a visual reinforcement. Okay, so if I come here and I click on this and I go to the order form, you can see it's very clean. And then I'm going to do Texas. And I'm going to do 55555. Okay. And then I'm going to go to the next page. You can see here, this is where the order bump comes into play. Now, for me, I have an order bump that basically says I'll give you access to an audiobook and I'll give you access to the ebook version so that you can get access to it quicker, because this is a physical product that I'm pushing out. And if I select this order bump, you can see that it adds in a $37 order bump, which then pushes this to $64. Now, I also have a timer on the page. This is something that I'm probably going to end up taking off just because, again, this is something that runs automatically. And then we have the process here, trust building factors, and then a breakdown of each individual thing that comes with the actual product offer itself. So then for step number 5, you want to create high converting upsells and downsells. So a part of my process inside of my funnel, let's just go to the $1 Million Challenge Manifesto. Let's go to this product here. And as you can see here, I'm giving people 2 options. I have a do-it-yourself package, and then I have a help us help you package. And then on this page, it breaks down the entire process of exactly what they're going to get for this upsell. Okay, I'm giving them access to AI secrets. I'm giving them access to fast track videos, webinar to challenge secrets, the challenge tech stack, funnel templates, and email and SMS templates. Okay, so I'm giving them the option to do all of this themselves, or they can have us help them. And then I have a VSL on this page that basically breaks down the show and tell method, which is what we implement on every single VSL that we put on the back end. So I'm basically walking them through the back end of what they're going to get access to, all of the assets, all of the resources that they get access to. And this gives them basically a glimpse into what it is that they're about to purchase. And on that upsell downsell process, again, you can pick your price points. These are some different examples. You can walk through this as you get access to this Google Doc. You have your downsells and then the different upsells there. And now let's get into some advanced strategies for maximizing your AOV. So for this first one, you can create urgency to drive action. For example, here, this special offer is only available during checkout. You can grab it now before it's gone. Or you can focus on the second thing here, which is complementary value to your upsells. So let's just say that you are selling a $27 workout plan if you're a fitness coach. On the back end of that, you can say, hey, I want to sell you something else, which could be a body part specific, like your chest, your abs, your glutes, or it can be a meal plan, or it can be personalized coaching, which you can see here. You can upsell $97 personalized coaching or a $47 advanced meal prep. Basically, you want to have something that's complementary to what it is that you just sold. You can have flexible payment plans for the downsells, which we explained. We have 3 pays, 2 pays, which I showed you inside of that process. And you can also test the pricing for optimal results. So instead of doing a $97 upsell, bump it to $197 to see if you still have a high take rate. Now, when it comes to some quick tips for implementation, you can bundle the value. You can anchor price, which again here is positioning your upsell against higher priced services to make it feel like a bargain. So for example here, normally my personalized coaching is $497, but today you can get it for $97. Now again here, you want to be very careful and make sure that you don't say my personalized coaching is $55,000, but today I'm going to give it to you for $97. That seems too unrealistic, okay? So you don't want to go too far out. You want to actually take the value and actually give a discount. And then you can downsell as your gateway. Now, for step number 6, you want to design an effective thank you page. Now, this thank you page here, you want to focus on your product delivery. You want to focus on what the next steps are. You want to focus on high ticket ascension. You can have some social sharing here, and then you can have bonus offers. So what I like to do with my thank you pages is I have a VSL at the top, and I have the step-by-step process of exactly what's about to happen. And then I have a calendar on the page for them to book. And then if you have additional offers, what I do on my side is I say, hey, you can get access to our free community. If you want to offer a free coaching call or anything of that nature, these are all the things that you have at your disposal to maximize the potential of getting the high ticket sale. You want to make sure that you put everything you can on this page, but don't go too crazy with it. But you just want to make sure that you're maximizing. If you have a $2,000 off on the back end, what can you do to make sure that they understand that there's a $2,000 offer available? And now here, your thank you page is more than just a delivery point. It's an opportunity to strengthen your relationship with the buyers by inviting them to a supportive community. You can create an ecosystem where they feel connected, supported, and ready to invest further into their success. And here for step number 7, you want to automate the funnel with AI tools. I utilize Hustler Haven. You can utilize Go High Level. For copywriting, we utilize Claude or ChatGPT, or for us, for example, we have AI employees that does all of this for us. For the ad creation, you can utilize Canva. We have a ton of tools and resources for the Canva. As you can see here, you can utilize these resources to place your products inside for your ads, for your funnels, etc. We have over 180 assets for you to just come in and pick what you want and change the copy. It's very simple to come in here and edit these. And I'll show you what this kind of looks like once you get on the back end. So for example, if I wanted to take this photo right here and place this inside of there, you can see that it easily changes. Okay. So very simple for you to come in and change the products. If I want to come in here and change the product title, let's say challenge manifesto. And again, you can change the font, you can change the size, you can play around with this how you want to play with it, but we have resources for you to be able to easily get up and running with the graphics. And finally, for step number 8, you want to optimize and iterate. No funnel is perfect from the start, so you want to use your analytics. So you want to make sure that you're focused on tracking the conversion rates, the order bumps, the adoption rate for the upsells and downsells, what is the take rate, and then for the thank you page, what is the click-through rate for them actually going through and trying to book a call. So some of the best practices here, you can run A/B split tests for the landing pages, for the headlines, CTAs, and the visuals. You can test different price points, and then you can collect user feedback inside of your community if they join the community to identify any pain points or areas for improvement. And I'm always asking for feedback. I have surveys on the back end where I'm saying, hey, what can I do better? What type of products do you need help with that I'm not including? So those are just things that you can get and take that feedback as something that's valuable for the process. And then you can add that into your ecosystem. And now I want to get into the Digitalnomics, which I think is going to be a very, very, very key piece for you to understand as far as making something like this profitable. And now let's get into the Digitalnomics so that you can focus on the economics behind a profitable funnel. Now, why is this so critical? It helps with predictable scaling. It helps you understand the break-even acquisition process, and then it helps with maximizing the lifetime value of your customers. Okay, so this is something that you need to understand for yourself when it comes to investing online, because that's what it is. It's an investment. It's not a gamble. You need to understand that there are different investor profiles. Now, most of the people that come to us, they are in this profile here. They're trying to be profitable on the front end, which means they want to spend $1 and make 5, right? With this type of funnel, this is not the funnel for that. For a VSL funnel, for a webinar funnel, for a challenge funnel, all of the other funnels are great for trying to be profitable with. But for this one, you need to have either a break-even mindset or a visionary investor mindset. And this is important for you to understand. Now, when it comes to the I need profit investor mindset, think of these entrepreneurs as playing small. They prioritize immediate profit margins over growth potential. They typically want to see a profit on every single sale and are hesitant to invest into future value. And this is where a lot of people who come to me, this is where they are mentally. They want to put in $1, they want to make $2 back. With this particular funnel, it's possible, right? You have your upsells and your downsells and you can be profitable, but you're going to limit your growth and you're going to cap yourself. The profitable you are, the less scalability that you're going to have. Scale equals bad. So I need y'all to understand this. It's a bad thing when you scale. You're going to lose margins. Your ROAS is going to decrease. You may potentially lose some of the money that you have coming through the door. When you're scaling, you have to have a different type of mindset and understand the bigger picture, which is the back end profitability. So for break-even investors, these are strategic players who break even on the front end to maximize back-end profitability. They understand the importance of acquiring buyers at no upfront cost and focus on scaling long-term value. So what does this mean? This means that I put in $27. It cost me $27 to get this person. I break even. Okay, we talked about this example earlier. So what happens when you spend $10,000 and you make $10,000 back? Now you have that much more customers coming through the door. So that's the break-even investor mindset. And then you have the visionary investor mindset. This is where my big dogs play. These entrepreneurs view their customers as assets. They're willing to spend more than they make up front, and they're confident in the future value of those buyers. They're the ones who dominate the markets by out-investing their competitors. This is where the big dogs play. And this is where they truly have to understand the economics and the math behind the game to be able to say, I'm willing to pay $100 to acquire a $27 customer. Okay. So that's something where you really, if you can get to that point, you're going to be able to utilize a phrase, whoever can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. And this is where the big dogs play. Everybody else is trying to be profitable on the front end with this type of funnel, and they're playing the wrong game, especially if they want to win. Now, you can go out there and make some sales if you want to make some sales and make some money online, which is where you would live in the $100 per day to $500 per day range. But if you want to get to that $10,000 plus, this is the mindset that you need to be in. Now that you understand the funnel structure, let's start talking about the math here, okay? Here are some additional metrics that you want to focus on. So the break-even point, this is the point where your funnel generates enough revenue to cover ad spend. For example, break-even point, if the ROAS is 1, anything greater than 1 means that you make it. Anything less means that you lose. And when it comes to the ideal benchmarks for a healthy funnel, your CPA needs to be less than or equal to your AOV. This ensures you're at least breaking even or making a profit on the customer acquisition. And for the ROAS, if you aim for at least 1.5 to cover your costs, it's going to create the margin for growth. Because if you're selling digital products, which is what I'm talking about in this individual section, this is where anything over a 1 is really profitability. So it's important for you to understand why these metrics matter. Breaking down these metrics help you quickly understand whether your funnel is working, and knowing that you're hitting these benchmarks lets you scale your ad spend without the fear of losing money. And now let's get into some of the funnel math. I don't want you to get overwhelmed here, so I did a very simple breakdown. So let's imagine that you're selling cookies for $1. If you spend $1 to sell one cookie, you break even. If you sell two cookies for $1, you make $1 profit. Now, let's add in a brownie for the order bump for 50 cents. Okay, so just imagine that you're at a store or you're at McDonald's and you're going through the drive through. First, you go get a burger or you get some nuggets, and then they're going to say, well, do you want any fries with that? Do you want a drink with that? And that's how the upsell process works. So for this, let's say you add a brownie for 50 cents. So out of the 10 customers that come through, 3 buy the brownie. So for every 10 customers, you make an additional $1.50. Now, scale that idea with bigger numbers. Let's say that you sell 1,000 cookies for $1 each, which is $1,000. You add 300 brownies for 50 cents each, which is an additional $150. And then the total revenue would come out to be $1,100. So the key here to understand is how each offer adds to the total revenue and how the cost to get a customer compares to their total value to your business. So now let's walk through the economics of a simple low ticket funnel. This is some of the funnel setup. The only thing missing here is a downside number 2 in the high ticket offer. So we're just going to go through this example so that you can kind of understand the typical conversion rates and the revenue contributions. So we have the steps, we have the price points, we have the conversion rate. Again, obsess over this because, again, if this goes from 10% to 15%, this goes to 150 buyers versus 100. Now, the example palette is 1,000 people come to the site. So that's where this 100 buyers come from at this 10%. So we get 100 people to come in and pay $27, $2,700. Out of that 100, 30% buy. So we have 30 people who buy this for $510 and so forth. Okay, you can see the revenue numbers here. So this comes out to be a total of $7,496. Now, from an ad spend and profitability standpoint, let's add in some ad spend so that we can kind of see what it looks like on how we got the people there. Okay, so let's just say that the ad spend is $3,000. You take that $3,000 to figure out your CPA and you divide that by the 100 buyers. So we have a $30 cost per acquisition. For the AOV, we're going to take this number here, which is the revenue, and we're going to divide that by the amount of buyers that comes through. So the AOV for this funnel is $74.96, which is basically on the front end. Then you have your ROAS. We made $7,400. We spent $3,000. We have a 2.5x ROAS. And for the profit, we're going to take the total revenue minus the ad spend, and that's going to give us $4,496 in profit, which isn't bad. Okay. So here, I want to show you how each funnel step impacts the AOV and the profitability. So I'm going to bump this down really quickly so you can see this in one spot. So here you have the steps, the price, the conversion rates, the revenue contribution, and then we have the cumulative AOV. Okay, so what happens here? $27, $32.10, $51.50, and then you have 55, and then 74.96. Okay, so that right there is what's happening as the people go through the actual ecosystem. So you can see here that the total revenue is $7,496. So the AOV is going to be $74.96. Okay, so this right here is basically breaking down everything so that you have a full understanding of how the revenue contribution works and the AOV contribution as a part of this economic process. So now let's go over a hypothetical case study to illustrate how this Digitalnomics works in action. Okay, so let's say you run a funnel for an online fitness course. Your core offer is a $27 30-day fitness challenge, and the conversion rate here is 8%. You have 10,000 people that come through, so you have 800 buyers. Out of that 10,000 people, we also have a 20% conversion rate on the order bump, so we get an additional 200 buyers at $17. The first upsell, we have a 20% take rate, and then the total revenue comes out to be $26,000. So let's say that we spent $10,000 to get this $26,000 in revenue. Our ROAS would be a 2.69, and our profit will be $16,920. Okay, so this right here is Digitalnomics. This is the math that you need to understand and obsess over in order to figure out how this low ticket acquisition model works and how you can get it to work for yourself. Now, some of the things that we want to focus on here: increasing your traffic. You can use paid ads to drive more traffic to the funnel. You want to always focus on optimizing your AOV. You always want to focus on getting a lower cost per acquisition. And then you always want to focus on your back-end monetization. Okay, so introducing high ticket offers or subscriptions on the thank you page to maximize your LTV. Now, when it comes to the smart scaling formula, this is something that you can implement into your ecosystem and just follow this step by step. This is what we do on our side. So when it comes to the ad spend side, we have incremental ad spend growth. Okay, so we start with 10 to 20% increases on the ad spend per week. So if I'm spending $100, the next day I might spend 110. The next day I might spend 120. Okay. Why would I do this? The gradual scaling prevents ad fatigue and it keeps the platform algorithm optimizing effectively. Okay. So for example here, like I just mentioned, If you're spending $100 a day, you can increase that to 110, then 120 to see if you can keep consistency coming through the door and make sure that it doesn't just jack up the algorithm. And now you go from getting 5 sales per day and now you're not getting any. Okay. So you don't want to scale too fast with this acquisition model. You want to also monitor the key results. You want to keep an eye on your CPA and your AOV. If the CPA rises faster than your AOV, it's time to evaluate the ad creative, targeting, or the funnel steps. The key action here, you want to regularly audit your funnel performance and ad analytics to stay ahead of potential dips. Third thing here, you want to expand your audience targeting. Use lookalike audiences based on your existing buyers for higher quality leads. And then you want to test broader targeting. We do a lot of this on the back end where we'll just say, hey, Facebook, go find our people. And we actually find that we get more sales by just letting Facebook do its thing sometimes, just depending on the actual niche that we're going after and the product that's being sold and the creatives. And then for number 4, we want to maximize back-end revenue. So as you scale, you need to focus on extending your LTV, introducing the high ticket offers on the back end, subscription models, etc. So for us, when you look at my process, what am I doing here? I have a $27 product here. I have a $37 product here, $197, and then I'm also adding in recurring revenue. So this is $97 a month to join inside of this community here. Okay. And if they don't join this, then I put them into the free. And then eventually I'm going to get them here because I'm going to have something, a resource, a tool, a strategy, a system that they're going to need. So they're going to upgrade at some point. Okay. But what am I doing here? If I get 10,000 people to come through here and they're all paying $97 a month, you can see how that adds up pretty quickly. And then some pro tips for scaling. You want to maintain consistent ROAS. You need to ensure your return on ad spend remains above a 1.5x. You want to optimize your creatives regularly. So again, kind of how I showed you inside of the example, we have multiple creatives that are always going constantly. We typically start out with 5 to 10 different creative assets and we put it into the algorithm and we let it tell us what's going to be the best thing that we're looking for. We're looking at the click-through rate. We're looking at how much it's costing per click. We're looking at how much it's costing to get people to the actual landing page. So we're always optimizing the creatives. And then you want to leverage automation when you can. Okay. So we have different tools that we utilize to help us let us know when campaigns are starting to flake, when campaigns are needing extra eyeballs. And those are things that we master on the back end inside of Digital Hustlers. I teach you all of the methods that you need to know. Now, when it comes to the AI tools for automation of this low ticket acquisition model, some of the things that you need to focus on here and why it's essential: efficiency, scalability, precision, and consistency. So for us, again, like I mentioned, for the landing pages, we have custom values on the back end, which helps with the process. We have AI prompts that you can go into ChatGPT or Claude to help you with this process of the ideation. For the copywriting, we utilize Claude for a lot of the copywriting because it sounds better than ChatGPT. For ad creatives, we use Canva, Pictory, AdCreative.ai. For email nurturing, we utilize platforms like Hustler Haven, ActiveCampaign. For the analytics, we utilize Hyros, and I can zoom in here so you can kind of understand what this is. This right here is what we utilize to track all of our ad attribution. So where are the sales coming from? What ad creatives are giving us the best capabilities to generate sales? What audiences are working best? And we utilize Hyros for this. And then we utilize a platform called Uptrick, which is our in-house proprietary platform, to give us the overall overview of every single selling mechanism that we have inside of our ecosystem. And then it gives us the overall business health. So we're not just looking at the advertising side and what's happening here. We want to see the entire overall picture of how all of our products are doing. And then we also want to be able to make decisions. And we have this key feature here, which you can see I zoomed in on, which is called focus mode. And once I hit this button, it tells me everything that's highlighted red down here, it would highlight, and then our AI software portion that we have baking into it, it's going to tell us exactly what to do based on the metrics, based off of our data. So these are all tools that you can have at your disposal to run your entire business for the low ticket acquisition model. Okay. So what's something that this does here with Uptrick? Real-time tracking performance for each step of the funnel, AI-driven recommendations, and then specific selling mechanisms. So if you look here on the side here, for your webinars, community challenges, low ticket acquisition, high ticket Instagram, VSLs and Instagram DMs, your calls, if you have a sales team, triage, sales process, etc. We're tracking every single thing throughout this entire process. And then we have the focus mode that tells us exactly which metrics that we need to keep an eye on. And then it tells us exactly what to do after that process has been completed. Now, some of these case studies here, one of our coaches that we helped get to over 30,000 subscribers inside of their ecosystem through their low ticket funnel was Queen Warriors. They were struggling with lead generation. And then we started implementing Facebook ads, YouTube ads, and all these different things. And we were selling a $27 workout from home every day, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This was a subscription. The first upsell was a meal prep guide. Then we got into advanced fitness coaching, and now there are one-on-one coaching sessions on the back end, and we have physical products that are mixing to this. So this is how fitness coaches can easily implement an ecosystem like this into their business. Case study number 2. I'm going to briefly pull this up. Not going to stay here long, but this right here, I'm all about receipts. I'm all about social proof, and most people don't have this stuff at their disposal. But you can see here, $25 million has come through this ecosystem. So I'm going to play this. It's only 2 minutes. So I'm going to play like a minute or so you can kind of see what's kind of happening when you implement this into your ecosystem. Okay. And I just wanted you to see that my claim to over $4 million is real. And then finally, we have Nehemiah Davis. We helped him generate over $1 million selling an ebook. And again, all of this is possible. Not saying that you're going to get the same results, not saying that this is what's going to happen for you specifically. But when you focus on understanding the math behind and the economics behind the low ticket acquisition model and why it's so pivotal that you have this in your ecosystem, it'll start making sense to you. Okay. And now let's get into some of the common pitfalls that you need to avoid. Okay. Cost savings, scalability, and improve user experience. These are all things that you need to avoid. Now, when it comes to the common pitfalls and the solutions for them, overcomplicating the funnel. The first mistake here, adding unnecessary steps or products or distractions that confuse the buyer. You want to definitely avoid this. Why is it harmful? The complexity reduces clarity and disrupts the buyer's journey, increasing drop-off rates. And the solution here, keep it simple. Core offer, order bump, 1 to 2 upsells and downsells, and a thank you page. Okay. I do not recommend going over 1 to 2 downsells and upsells because it can drag out the process and then people will just fall out naturally. So keep it simple. Landing page, offer, order bump, upsell 1, downsell 1, upsell 2, downsell 2, and then thank you page. And then you want to test the funnel performance after identifying one feature at a time to identify its impact. And a pro tip here, just use a single clear call to action that guides them through this entire process. And then for number 2, neglecting the importance of upsells. The mistake here is people fail to include the upsells or having upsells that don't align with the core offer. So for example, if your core offer is talking about apples and your upsells is talking about oranges, there's a disconnect. There's no congruency. What would be better is have one apple, and then on the next step, I'm going to show you how to peel an apple. The next step after that, I'm going to show you how to slice it up so that your kids eat more, right? So you can have different things that are complementary to the actual process. Why is it harmful? You miss opportunities to increase your AOV and profitability. And a pro tip here, you can include clear benefit-driven headlines on upsell pages like want to get results 2 times faster, add this to your order. Number 3 here, underestimating the power of order bumps. The mistake here, people just don't have them at all, right? All you have to do here is create something that's a no-brainer that complements the actual low-ticket product that you're selling, and it's going to help out with your process. And for number 4, which I think is the most important part, most people ignore data-driven decisions. I do not make any emotional decisions inside of this process. I look at the numbers, I look at the stats, I look and see where the gaps are, and we make optimizations based off of that. Okay, you can use tools like Hyros, Google Analytics, tracking tools internally, but we regularly review this data and we run split tests to refine the funnel's weakest points. For number 5, failing to optimize on mobile. Okay, so let me go into a funnel here. I'm going to go into the sales page and explain what this entire process is. Up here at the top, and this is where most people get it wrong, you have the desktop mode and you have the mobile mode. Okay. If you do not make sure that everything fits right on desktop and mobile, then I can promise you this, everything will be a super bad experience. And mobile is where the majority of your purchasers are going to come from. So you want to make sure that you put a lot of time and a lot of emphasis on this and don't overskip it. Okay. Designing the funnels that aren't mobile responsive or optimized for smaller screens. Pro tip here, keep CTAs easily clickable. Make sure that all of your buttons work and make sure that whatever you have on desktop, you can have on mobile. And if there's things that you want to have on desktop that you don't need on mobile, make sure that you have that clearly distinct and broken down. For number 6, poor targeting in the ads. Pretty self-explanatory here. Regularly review your ad performance metrics, click-through rate, cost per click to ensure that it aligns with your target audience. And then for number 7, most people skip the split testing. So on the back end of Hustler Haven, you can see here, I'm split testing 50% of the traffic to go to this page and 50% of the traffic to go to this page. And it can be a simple tweak as far as just changing the headline, right? So I can say here, discover how to sell. I can change this to, let me show you how to generate $1 million in a day by working with challenges and implementing this into your business, right? So I can have 2 things going side by side to see which one is going to give me the better conversion rate. And that's what a split test is. Pro test here, we want to focus on testing one element at a time. So this is why I mentioned, if I have a split test and I'm just testing the headline, that's the first thing that I'll start with. And if I see an increase, great, then I'll move on to the next thing. Okay, but you want to focus on one thing at a time. Having weak thank you pages. This is very important. If you do not have a strong thank you page, you're not going to get people to book into your calendar. You're not going to get people to join into your community. So you want to make sure that you put a lot of attention here and add a clear CTA to book a call or explore additional offers. Number 9, ineffective copywriting. This is self-explanatory. You need to have a really good copywriting that speaks to your specific audience, that hits specific frustrations, desires, needs, and wants. So we have processes on the back end with our AI prompts and AI employees on the back end that helps you with empathy map building and all the other processes to identify your ideal customer profile. So all of those things can be taken care of for you on the inside of Digital Hustlers. And then the lack of back end offers. Okay. Most people here, they make the mistake of focusing only on the front end offer without a back end monetization strategy. And this is why you want to focus on this entire process. You don't just want to have a book and then go directly to the thank you page. Okay, you want to have some products that are built into this entire flow so that you can maximize your average order value. And now let's briefly talk about the power of data and funnel optimization. So your funnel is only as good as the numbers it produces. Data isn't just numbers on a dashboard, it's a story your funnel is telling you. Okay, so now let's look at some of the common funnel issues. For number 1, low opt-in rate. For us, we're targeting above 30%. That's what we're going for when it comes to getting people into our ecosystem. You can see the problem, some of the potential causes, and some of the solutions here, okay? And again, this is going to be provided in the description. Number 2, low sales conversion rate. Right here, you want to be above a 5%. Then you have your upsell take rate. You want to be above 10% here. For the CPA and the ROAS, you want to focus on refreshing your ad creatives and optimizing upsells and to increase your AOV and balance cost out. Okay. And some of the continuous improvement frameworks that we utilize, we always split test. We're always looking at data trends. Okay. So that's why we have the softwares Uptrick and Hyros. And then finally, we're always looking to leverage automation. Now, for some of the next steps in the actionable resources, taking the first step towards building a low ticket acquisition model may feel like it's overwhelming, but every successful funnel, no matter how profitable, started with a single action. And that's what I need you to do here. I need you to take action. You can join the Digital Hustle community. You can come inside and get access to all the resources. You can utilize this document and go do everything yourself. It's up to you. But your journey to predictable, scalable revenue doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to begin. And these are some of the things that I tell some of my newbie hustlers because we typically implement this ecosystem into the Spark Zone. And the Spark Zone is anywhere in between 0 to 25K. And it helps with the dopamine hits. It helps show you that everything that you've heard online, it's possible. And when you start getting multiple sales every single day, and what I tell my people is to focus on progress over perfection. The most profitable funnels didn't start as flawless systems. They started as ideas that were refined over time. Every small win, every tweak brings you closer to your goal. And then I tell them the power of momentum. With each step that they take, you'll build confidence and gain clarity. Remember, action creates results and results fuel success. So what I need you to focus on now is getting your funnel built. We have all the tools and resources on the back end. Start with your core offer, utilize the prompts, or you can come inside of the community and get access to our resources. Then you need to map out your funnel structure. What do you want? How many upsells do you want? What is going to be your order bump? What is going to be the process that you're taking them through? And then you can leverage AI tools. And then you also can join the Digital Hustlers community. Okay. On the back end here, we have all the resources that you need. But to not overwhelm you inside of this process, I want you focused on the low ticket acquisition model. So you can join in here, get access to all the tools, all the resources that you need to be successful. We also have where you can hire additional assets and resources that you can add into your ecosystem if you get stuck. And then we also have the Hustlers Balance Center. Okay. I haven't talked about this yet, but this is something where if you understand entrepreneurship, you understand that sometimes it can be lonely. We have accountability partners on the inside of here, and then we have purpose pathways so that you can find your purpose. I do business with a purpose. Every time I start a business, there's a purpose behind it, whether I want it to be for my college tuition for my kids as they get older, whatever the case may be, I do business with a purpose. And then for number 3, you need to refine your metrics. Always track key metrics, monitor your CPA, your AOV, your ROAS, and your conversion rates regularly. And then always split test and optimize. Number 4, explore back-end monetization. Always make sure that you have a high ticket product on the back end and you can switch these out. It can be annual memberships, it can be high ticket coaching, it can be subscription services. And then when it comes to number 5, you want to scale with paid ads. Start small, test your funnel with a limited budget. Most people that come to us, we're not starting off with $1,000 a day. We build into it. And then you want to set small, achievable goals. Okay. So for example, generate your first 10 buyers within the next 30 days. And then don't forget about the additional resources. I have a step-by-step workbook that walks you through the entire process if you want to take this on yourself. And it shows you everything that you need from A to Z on how to build out the low ticket acquisition model. And then finally, if you want us to do all of this for you, you can just book a call with my team and we'll just build out this entire process for you. We'll build out all the landing pages. We'll build out all of the assets that you need. We'll help you create the products, and then we'll put this and plug this into your ecosystem. Okay. And if you have any questions around this, just remember, building a low ticket acquisition funnel is not about creating a sales system. It's about creating a scalable, predictable, and profitable ecosystem for your business. So I would love for you to take action today and leverage these resources to start generating buyers on demand. And if you have any questions around this, please reach out, come join our free community. I would love to have you in and show you exactly how you can get to 100, 1,000, or even $10,000 per day within your business.